I'll take it from here. Reporting from Halloween HQ, as much as the Mind's Eye News Network strives to provide you peace of mind in your darkest hour, I'm afraid we have grave news in store. Your trusted news that will refuse to skimp on all the gory details. We're here at last, my horror faithful. The harvest season is upon us, and has shown plenty of bad seeds to reap. It's high time, it's our time. This year's month of Macabre is jam-packed across all mediums, and the Mind's Eye has brought every trick in the bag for you to treat yourself this year. Think of this bulletin as your one-stop chop shop for all things horror. From news to debuts, from a theater near you to the comfort of your living room, from game consoles to streaming platforms, from Blu-ray to 4K, we present to you this, the Coroner's Report Halloween TV Guide 2022 edition. As your lead anchor, Inkarnate, I'll be playing your bearer of bad news. The Hunter's Moon has come out to play, and she plays for keeps. We go now to our Shadowcaster for a sign of things to come. And what better omen can we ask for than a word from our sponsors? Think of the power to tune out the whole world placed in your hands. Now think again, because Jabra headsets puts that power in your ears. Listen closely. From workout earbuds to Bluetooth music headsets and office hearing devices. So, if other brands play your music sounding like a broken record, march to the beat of a different tune with Jabra. If you're an HD snob like me, you probably buy Samsung for all your major electronics. Catch up on your favorite horror classics on one of their Ultra HD TVs. Watch one of Scream Factory's Blu-rays on their 4K players. Keep up with updates from 80s horror documentary In Search of Darkness on a high-end tablet. Subscribe to your favorite YouTuber through one of their Galaxy phones. I have so many Samsung devices, I've always thought they should be paying me. Well, now they can, and you can help. If you use the link in the description for either Samsung or Jabra purchases, it'll help the channel out tremendously. With the promotional considerations accounted for, it's on with the show. Before we deep dive into this year's October festivities, what say we see what's on tap before we look to what's to come with a recap of last month. On the gaming front, it was gore galore for the onset of autumn. The month opened with money-grubbing scheme The Last of Us coming to PS5. Gloomwood released on September 5th, much to the live streamers' content and content. Not only can you never have enough Cthulhu games, but apparently genres in said titles. Lovecraft's Untold Stories 2 is an action RPG with roguelike elements and 4-player co-op to take on Eldritch Hordes. That was a mouthful. Metal Hellsinger burst onto the scene in more ways than one. Between Dark Age melee weapons and dual-wield firearms, this Doom clone's poised to go medieval on your ass.
I believe we're gonna have to get medieval on your buttocks.
EBOLA 3 takes obvious inspiration from Resident Evil 3, the good one I mean. Even with reports of baboon pox and polio, it's nice to know we can just enjoy a little plague with our pandemic. You know I likes me some dark fantasy, and Solstice fits that bill. This fairy tale happens to take place in a post-apocalyptic setting, so color me intrigued. What didn't fare as well in September were movies. Not by a damn sight.
By a damn sight.
A24 released something called Pearl, which was like their Lizzie Borden. Meh. Next is Jeepers Creepers and Smile. Ouch. Jeepers Creepers Reborn was released as a special 3-night event from Fathom Events, and I couldn't even convince my movie buddy to go see this reboot. And what can you say about Smile? Other than that, it's bad when you need to resort to what looks like a ripoff of Blumhouse's Truth or Dare, which looked like a ripoff of Sci-Fi's Truth or Dare. Jesus, just fast forward to streaming services, I can't take it. Netflix's Dahmer seems to be all the rage, or so the memes would have you believe. Films like Jeepers Creepers and Smile had their lunches absolutely devoured by streaming content like Dahmer and Hocus Pocus 2. Seriously, why would you even release those films up against those heavy hitters other than to send them to pasture? As much as Hocus Pocus was a doubtless cash grab, it at least had the creativity in the right places, and I invite you to catch my watch party of the sequel. But it wasn't all hashtags and hoopla, because at least one recognized property resurfaced in The Munsters. What's that? We're getting word now of a special bulletin. Hey now, who cares? Not me! Up next. As great as it is that the original The Fog has gotten a 4K release, as well as The Funhouse, if you're into that movie, I'm glad that Evil Dead 2013 has gotten the same treatment. Along with the addition of the characters in the recent video game, I'm glad that this underrated remake hasn't fallen by the wayside and it's getting some much needed love. So, now that we're all caught up, we now present our Fear Festival proper.
Time to play the game.
Gaming is going all out this month. Asymmetrical gameplay is the coin of the realm as of late, and Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed is open for business. You even get to play as the ghosts, so it looks like this one's got all the trappings. Speaking of franchise iterations, we have A Plague Tale Requiem. When you think of horror in the Middle Ages, your go-to would naturally be the Universal monsters. So, I'm glad that a game company has not only tackled the oft-overlooked bubonic plague for a storytelling adaptation, but has come back for seconds with this sequel. Both games release October 18th. What is undoubtedly an anticipated release and one of the major titles regardless of medium is Scorn. With an H.R. Giger biomechanical motif and nightmarish hellscape, my hopes are set high that the many years in development have forged a game worth the wait. I guess we'll find out October 21st. On the subject of double booking, first up on October 27th, nothing like a good old school horror game to rein in Halloween. The throwback focus of Signalis permeates throughout every aspect of the game. The art style is a nod to 90s games. The science implored in this space game is retro tech. The mechanics are said to emulate classic survival horror littered with puzzles. It's even inspired by RE and Silent Hill. You'll uncover more than just dark secrets, as the space station is overrun with nightmarish creatures for you to overcome. On the same day, we don't just have horror titles and throwback games this month, we're even resurrecting long-dead consoles from the grave. As great as it is to hear that the Sega Genesis is getting in on the mini console trend, for the sake of this video, I want to mention 4 of the games bundled with the system. The library of retro horror includes Mansion of Hidden Souls, The Ooze, Alien Soldier, and my favorite, Splatterhouse 2. The 16-bit classics live again. On the theatrical release side, I'm sorry to report that things are as grim in October as they were in September. Terrifier 2 comes out on October 6th, which I can only assume they're keeping quiet on the Screambox release date because they don't want people to just wait for it to release digitally. Now, coming out on October 28th is the exorcism film Pray for the Devil. The imagery in this looks unsettling to say the least. Hopefully this flick will make up for the disappointment that was 2018's The Nun.
Us girls, we gotta stick together in this place.
We have a female student in the class, only as an observer. Women are strictly forbidden from performing exorcism.
Female surgeons are once unthinkable. Somebody had to be the first.
Well, apparently it's brought a frustration all its own. Good to know that when fighting the forces of pure evil, the only thing worse than the devil himself is the patriarchy. If you're looking for quality horror cinema, your best bet is Fathom Events, hosting scary movie classic releases all month long. October 1st, a double feature of the original Mummy and The Bride of Frankenstein. October 9th and 10th, Scream 2 returns to theaters for its 25th anniversary. October 23rd and 27th, you get the best Dracula film, Bram Stoker's Dracula. October 25th, National Theater Live Frankenstein. October 29th, another double feature of Creature from the Black Lagoon and Phantom of the Opera.
Join us.
Let's go for a little ride.
Now we come to my personal favorite, the home releases, and Scream Factory is here to deliver. The entire Halloween series has been collected and is yours to own on October 4th. And you already know the trend by now. Also on October 4th, the one thing that I'm looking most forward to is Army of Darkness in an impressive 4-disc collection. Call me crazy, but probably because of its dark fantasy elements, this is the only film of the Evil Dead trilogy that I actually like. On October 18th, for all the zombie fans, we've got the Return of the Living Dead. The 80s reigns supreme. All aforementioned Blu-rays will release on 4K disc. Take it from me, I am very impressed by the options and the rollout of heavy hitter horror titles coming to streaming. I think these platforms have finally gotten the memo. We've got not one, but 2 movies coming out October 7th. First up, we have the hotly anticipated Hellraiser reboot on Hulu. It has been a long time for horror fans praying for this series to return to former glory. Well, horror fans, it appears our prayers have been answered. The box has been opened, and the Hell Priest is back. The trailer looked impressive, so now we wait what sights they have to show us. In the long line of same-day releases, next up is this surprise, Marvel's Werewolf by Night on Disney+. I was sold on the cheesy black and white, almost grindhouse presentation of the trailer, seemingly and mercifully disconnected from their shared universe. With the feel of a Disney amusement park, here's hoping we're in for a thrill ride. Coming out October 14th is the mercy killing that is Halloween Ends. Good riddance. Michael Myers sees his end until sequel number 11 or inevitable reboot. This trilogy has been all nostalgia exploitation, revisionism, race swapping, and queer baiting. So, its only saving grace is that it'll end, and people will finally catch on to Blumhouse's money-grubbing ways in time for their next franchise disgrace, next year's Exorcist. All 3 previously mentioned films will be streamed for the Mind's Eye Theater. October 19th is Netflix's School of Good and Evil. October 20th, VHS 99, and October 28th, Wendell and Wild, also on Netflix. My brief mention of these 3 is reflective of my interest level. Releasing on Netflix from October 25th to the 28th is a 4-day, 2-movie per night anthology series called Cabinet of Curiosities. I can't believe anything from Guillermo del Toro would have me anticipated, but I'm looking forward to this event. Look, these movies can absolutely blow, but I for one appreciate the effort. Before we part the streaming side, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the following. By now, we all recognize the players, so we know the score. There's Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Hulu, Peacock, Shudder, and Tubi. What you may not know, though, is that many of these streaming services have hubs to consolidate all their horror programming for the month. Therefore, be on the lookout for Paramount Plus' Peak Screaming Portal, HBO Max's House of Halloween Hub, Netflix's Streams and Screams Portal, and Terror on Tubi. By the way, do not sleep on Tubi. We wrap up this coverage with the obvious annual traditions. Before we had the luxury of binge watching, and even really horror releases in theaters for October, we had TV marathons to look forward to. The rundown reads as AMC Fear Fest, with no doubt the Walking Dead marathon all its own. TCM Horror Movie Marathon, my preferred preference. Sci-Fi 31 Days of Halloween, Freeform 31 Nights of Halloween, Disney Monstober. The Simpsons 33rd Treehouse of Horror comes out on October 30th. Even the Travel Channel, Food Network, and Discovery Plus are getting in on the action with Ghosttober, over 55 hours of Halloween programming. Are you tired yet? Good, because we're done. I genuinely hope that this has helped to consolidate all things horror releasing in theaters, on TV, for streaming, with gaming. October is one mammoth beast to tackle, but fortunately the Mind's Eye's got you covered. I had my work cut out for me, so my wish is for you to treat yourself this Halloween. I've been Inkarnate, your bearer of bad news, reminding you, grave news invariably comes at night, and it's getting dark out. If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.